What's up, everyone, and welcome to the first Raw in the beginning of the Raw anthology. We're going to review all the Raws in the Monday Night War, starting with September 11th, 1995. This was the 126th episode of Raw in its history. We're starting the Monday Night Wars again with the Raw due to the fact that this is the first Raw that went up against WCW with the ratings available to us. So I'll review Nitro and Raw simultaneously with no other videos coming in between, but they will have separate videos for each Nitro and each Raw. And inside, it will tell you the rating for the show and who beat who, and keep track of the other wins and losses for Nitro and Raw. And I'll also keep track of what I rated the show out of 10 at the end. This Raw took place on August 28th, 1995, even though they showed it on tape on September 11th. It was pre-taped from the Canton Civic Center in Canton, Ohio. McMahon on Jerry Lawler on commentary. I won't make anyone wait for the rating. It was a 2.5 TV rating. Nitro, this same week, was a 2.4. So the first victory goes to Monday Night Raw by 0.1 in the ratings. And let's get to that Raw now. So Raw has a 1-0 lead over Nitro in the first ever combat 1 week back and forth. The first match of the night was the Bulldog with Jim Cornette versus Razor Ramon. Bulldog was in Camp Cornette at the time. The WWF knows how to put its stars versus stars now since Nitro's on the air. No more of Bulldog versus Jobber, Razor Ramon versus Jobber. They now have to pick up their shoes because Nitro was already in its second week. They already had Nitro the first week, but it wasn't against Raw, so that's why I didn't review it, the first Nitro. But I did review the second Nitro, and that's on my channel right before this. So if you haven't checked that out, be sure to check it out. It's right before this video. I always put Nitro and Raw videos side by side, so you never have to look very far to get to them. The bad guy, it's also in a playlist. I also having an old Nitro and an old Raw playlist. So anyways, the bad guy and the Bulldog, get it straight here. The bad guy comes out first, Bulldog second. They switched with arm bars and hammerlocks to start the match. The Bulldog was in possession of a hammerlock, but the Bulldog got sent to the ropes, and he ended up eating a right hand from Ramon off the ropes, a clothesline to the floor. Surprised they didn't go to commercial after that clothesline to the floor, but it's 1995, not 2023. Razor working back in the ring rather, and with working on the wrist shoulder area into a hammerlock on the Bulldog. Razor breaks the Bulldog, cutting off his size, and Razor drops Bulldog to his knees and uses his weight advantage for leverage, holding and extending the torque on the shoulder. The Bulldog comes out with Irish whips to the corner. He attempts a vertical suplex, and he hits a standing vertical suplex, the Bulldog does, to Razor Ramon as he held him in the air for quite some time. A follow-away slam by Ramon. The Bulldog reversed that into the corner. Ramon hits the Razor's edge, and Bulldog is hit with it. The official is still down, though, as there was interference from the official. Dean Douglas comes from the back, and he jumps on Razor Ramon. And then all of a sudden, 1-2-3 Kid comes in to even the odds and is suplexed and punched to the floor as well by Dean Douglas. Then Bulldog slams Razor with his power slam, as there was no referee, and there's still no referee. The 1-2-3 Kid comes off the top and hits Razor instead of the Bulldog as the Bulldog moved out of the way. Then the British Bulldog defeated Razor Ramon via disqualification at 7-10 after interference by the Kid, even though Dean Douglas interfered first. As Lawler says, the ref didn't see that, so they didn't disqualify him. They disqualified Razor instead of the Bulldog. So it was a good match before the interference. I rated it 2 stars 3/4 for that opening match of Raw. That went up against Sabu versus Alex Wright on the Nitro side. So decent matchup. Raw beat Nitro this week, and that might have been a reason why, as they started it off with a good match between two established wrestlers in the Bulldog and Razor Ramon. McMahon then interviews Razor and the 1-2-3 Kid. This went up against the Flair promo on Nitro. 1-2-3 Kid asks about Razor costing him the match. The Kid ends up challenging Razor for the next week in the ring because he feels disrespected. Smoking Guns took on Rad Redford and Brooklyn Brawler. This is a jobbers match. The Guns get the win at 2:46 as Billy Gunn dropped his leg on the Brooklyn Brawler and off the top rope or the middle rope, I should say, as the Guns do that famous move they have. And Billy Gunn gets the victory with the leg drop. Goldust then cuts an eerie promo. He had yet to debut. He would debut it In Your House less than 2 weeks from this episode. That one, I believe, was from Canada, that In Your House. But nonetheless, it was in October of 95. This is September the 11th, 95. He cuts an eerie promo, and he's yet to show up on television yet. Next, we got Dr. Isaac Yankem versus Scott Taylor, so another jobber match. Scott Taylor being the jobber, who features Scotty 2 Hotty, and obviously Dr. Isaac Yankem is Jerry Lawler's dentist in storyline, but he's Kane before he was Kane. So it's Kane versus Scotty 2 Hotty pretty much before their time. It's Isaac Yankem and Scott Taylor. Isaac Yanker comes out to this awful drilling music for a dentist. Him being King's personal dentist to destroy Bret Hart is such a stupid fucking gimmick, but it's 1995 WWF, so you kind of expect it. Taylor's wearing this half rainbow tights, DDS with a choke slam and an elbow, just like Kane used to do. Isaac Yang picks up Scotty behind the head and he holds him with like a garrote choke type hold, and then is displaying his power. He dropped Taylor across the ropes and then hit a DDT for the victory at 2:24. I rated it at 3/4 of a star. Todd Pettengill talks about In Your House in less than 2 weeks. Sorry, I didn't want to breathe on the microphone there. Diesel and Michaels will face Owen and Yokozuna at In Your House in less than 2 weeks. That's what Todd Pettengill came to say. Main event, Shawn Michaels versus Sid with Ted DiBiase. This went up against Luger and Hogan going up at it for the world title. This one's for the WWF Intercontinental title. Fast-paced to begin this. Michaels flying all around the ring, flying forearm Irish whips. Sid takes a breather outside the ring. This main event went up against Luger and Hogan again for the world title. So this one had to really carry a strong weight, and I felt it did. The IC title was on the line. It's obviously not the world title, but this one definitely got people's attention because, again, Raw beat Nitro, but only by 0.1. Sid with a standing side headlock. HBK shows his strength. Michaels went for a crossbody, but Sid grabbed him in a bear hug type hold. Michaels chopped out of the corner, and Psycho Sid then drops him across the ring apron to the floor on the thin blue mat covering the floor. DiBiase behind the official stomps on HBK as the fans boo. McMahon insists HBK hasn't regrouped the same since that SummerSlam 95 classic ladder match with Razor Ramon. Sid then wanting to win by countout, but HBK gets up at 9 for dramatic effect as he showcases his resilience. Back from a commercial, Sid then chokes Michaels and hits a choke slam. Sid then, instead of covering HBK, says, "Give me the belt," and Sid gets ready for a powerbomb but takes his time. HBK at the mercy of Psycho Sid here, and he goes to hit a powerbomb, but because he took so much time, HBK countered with a back body drop as the ladies scream in the crowd. Sid went to do a drop at axe handle to HBK, but he does his version of hulking up, a flying forearm, a kip up, right hands to Sid. HBK from the top rope with a crossbody hooks the leg near fall. Sid kicks him in the midsection, and HBK ducks a clothesline, and then 2 super kicks to Sid. He bounces off the ropes and hits him with sweet chin music. At 7:21, Michaels retains the title. A really good match for its time and for a Sid match. I rated 2 stars and 3/4. So this Raw won the first official week of the war by 0.1 rating, as I mentioned. Can they do it a second week? Be sure to tune in next time, but still, I have to rate this Raw out of 10, so I'll be keeping track of all my scores, as I said, out of 10. So as Raw drew a 2.5 in the ratings and won by 0.1, Nitro drew 2.4. I gave Nitro a 6 out of 10. I'm giving Raw a 6.5 out of 10. Not just because of the minor ratings bump, but because, again, this was quality TV-wise. When you consider that Raw was just 1 hour, you have to judge it by another show that could be put on by 1 hour. You can't judge Raw by 1 hour the same way you judge a Raw by 3 hours. So you have to think about the timing, who was on the Raw, what could they have done with the talent they had. That's what I take all into consideration when I rate things out of 10. So I gave this a 6.5, mostly because the Razor Ramon Bulldog match and the Michael Sid match were both very good. And they did what they could with what they had. So pretty good Raw to a pretty good Nitro. That's the first week. 6.5 for Raw, 6 out of 10 for Nitro, 2.5 for Raw for the ratings, 2.4 in Nitro in the ratings. Raw has a 1-0 lead. We'll see what the second week has in store on September the 18th, 1995 for both Nitro and Raw. So tune into those videos as well. For the first week of Raw and the Monday Night Wars when they went back-to-back battle, I'm Brett Mix, and I'm out.